My children now.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
You lied and I died.
I feel a little woozy, yeah. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
How's it hanging, Phil?
Stop the prime time, bitch.
Come and get it!
So either put the gun down now, or kiss your ass goodbye.
Let's get this party started.
I agree, Dana. Let's get this party started. But tonight is not going to be much of a party because holy shit. That was rough. That was a rough episode of Welcome to Derry, including what could be one of the saddest scenes I've ever seen in any movie or TV show. So, man, that sure was something. Hey, guys. Whew. I am ready to talk about this, and I hope you guys are as well. What's up, Connor? I was having a good night until then. What's up, Ashton? What's up, Stewie? Ashley did too, because she wanted the socks. Yeah. What's up, Cam? Oh, man. Man, oh, man. So, whew. Boy, do we got a lot to talk about with this episode. I was wondering how they were going to wrap up this season so tightly, and then it's all making sense now, how they're going to end this season. And, man, I'm just still sitting here like, what the fuck happened? Like, what the fuck did I watch? Man, like, all right, let's get to the notes. Let's get started and let's talk about some Welcome to Derry. We start back at the carnival, and we see that, the original Pennywise, Bob Gray, and it's amazing how good Skarsgård does in this role of Bob Gray. I'm loving this season, Cam, but this episode it's a heartbreaker. I will say this is the saddest episode they've had so far. Like, hands down. Absolutely. We get some more Andy Muschietti in this episode. We see him. He has a little, part in the episode, which was pretty cool. I loved seeing that. Anthony, if you don't want spoilers, you might want to go, because we are definitely going to spoil this, for sure. Man. Periwinkle is also Ingrid's mom. So we learned that last week, I think it was, that Ingrid was walking around as Periwinkle. That was her clown form. And we find out that Periwinkle was also her mom's name before she passed away. And Bob Gray is just a great father. Like, he's a great dad to Periwinkle. Like, he loves her. You could tell that he's, very upset, at the thought of not being able to have her. He's a very, very loving father. And then we have some kid that comes up and asks Bob Gray for help. And Bob Gray's kind of a dick. Like, he's like, no, can't you see I'm busy? And he's smoking a cigarette and drinking. And he hears a scream, so the kid holds his hand. And I love how when you see the teaser, you think this is Pennywise taking a kid off into the woods, when actually it's the opposite. It's Pennywise taking Bob Gray into the woods in the form of a child. And we later see that Bob Gray's dead, and they're giving Ingrid, his bloody toupee, wig, whatever, and they're like, it could have been wolves, it could have been anything. We found this in the woods, and, she's obviously very upset. When the group of vigilantes, if you will, go to the black spot, that is the proper name for it, by the way. I would never call it that. That's what it's called, is the black spot. Another great Stephen King line is referenced here. Give us what we want and we'll go away, which if you've seen Storm of the Century, you know that's the big line in that movie. Give me what I want and I'll go away. They ask what they want. They say Hank Grogan. They're like, we don't have Hank here. Hank comes out of nowhere and he's like, look, just take me. I'm not willing to have any bloodshed over on my behalf. And they pull their guns. So then the military guys pull their guns and they're like, oh, look, we got guns. And ours are U.S. government official, you know. And, man. Oh, dude, we would love to. I have a sneeze coming, and it won't come out, and it's driving me nuts. Yeah, we would love to. Absolutely, Cam. We're actually going to have you be in a video here soon. We're talking to Gigi about how we're going to do it, but we're going to do another... a couple years ago, we did Let the Kids Talk Horror, where a bunch of kids sent in videos of their favorite horror movie and why they love that horror movie so much. And we're going to do a volume 2 of that, and we're going to have a bunch of kids... send in videos of their favorite horror movies. I think it's cool. Let the kids talk horror, you know, because you guys are the next generation of horror fans. So we want to have that as well. So the military men fight back. They're like, nope, absolutely not. You ain't going nowhere. You know, we're not having a lynching here tonight. And the guys in the masks are like, the vigilantes are like, all right, you're right. This isn't no way to do this. So they walk out. They end up chaining up the doors and firebombing the place. I'm doing good, King Matthew. Thank you for stopping in. And lots of deaths here. Crazy headshot. We get a really good headshot here. And, you know, it's... This whole scene is gnarly. Some of it is irritating because... And I get why they did it. Because it's a fire. You know, the whole place is surrounded by fire. And they are... there's so much smoke in there that you can't see. But for us, the viewer, we also can't see. So it's kind of crazy. You want to come in and talk a little bit? Chloe's here. She watched the episode with me. What'd you think of it?
One of the best.
We haven't talked about that scene yet.
Oh.
We're just at the part where they started lighting it up with the fire stuff.
Yeah, that was... I knew it almost immediately whenever...
She called it pretty quickly.
They were like turning off the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how I knew. I just knew that they were going to set it ablaze.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just like our friend Cam said hello.
Hi, Cam.
All right, so yeah, she was here, so she wanted to say hi real quick, guys. So Halloran is having visions during the fire, and the visions can see him now, which is gnarly. Then there's a character named Noreen. Pennywise gets her, eats her. What's the matter? Do I have face on my face? Which is a great fucking line, by the way. But all of Halloran's visions see him now. So the things that he was scared to let out of the box because they could potentially see him too, Pennywise is like, they see you, Dickie. Like, which is fucking just awesome. So Hank, Ronnie, and Will get out. And big spoilers here, guys. Richie and Marge are still in there. And at this point, they find a box because the roof's about to cave in. It's a big box. And Richie's like, come on, we can get in here and we can be safe. And she gets in and he Titanics himself. And he shuts the lid and he gets on top of the box so that she's safe. And he gives a big speech where he's like, you know, the very first time I saw you, all the hamsters got loose and you ran out and I saw you in this shirt. And she's like, oh my God, you remember that? And he's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, I love you. And he says, I love you too. And Richie sacrifices himself to save her. And I'm over here like...
Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday. You need to help me!
So it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, like it punches you right in the chest. And very, very sad. Very sad. Periwinkle shows up in makeup, and obviously Mr. Kirsch, her husband, is there, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, black or blue, you'll decide when you get home and get all that shit off your face. This is where her and Pennywise kill Mr. Kirsch. She sets him up, and Pennywise, oh my, like my favorite kill of the season right here. And then, you know, she's looking at Pennywise, and she's like, I called Hank in because I knew if I called him in and they all came out here, there would be anger and, you know, fear, and you would have to show up. You would have to be here if that happened. And he plays along at first. He's like, you know, how's my little girl? Then she's like, you're not my dad. And he's like, of course I am. And she's like, what'd you do with him? And he's like, I hate him, and I think he wants to see you again. And at this point, you're actively rooting for Pennywise. You know, you're like, get her, get her, get her. And he opens up, and the deadlights get her and pick her up. And then it kind of like, I wrote in all caps, deadlights. But it was awesome to see the deadlights again. Marge survives. She's saved by a fireman, and she finds Richie's dead body. And then I put, damn it, I'm broken, because he's sitting there with his eyes all, oh, it's just a fucking sad scene. And Ronnie and Will come in, and they see him too, and they're all hugging. Yes, right here. Yes. Yes. We call him Boo Boo Richie because it was mentioned in the book. Oh, hell yeah. The next week is the last one. Before Pennywise killed him, made me want to, yeah. I saw the deadlights, and I wanted to be there. Man, but when they see his body, it was just rough. So rough and heartbreaking. Yeah, one of the saddest deaths I've seen in a long time. Ingrid's body is taken by ambulance, but she turns her eyes and she sees the kids, which is another very scary moment, which I thought was really, really good. They're saying Hank Grogan is dead. We obviously know he's not. He's still alive. Yes, the military. Well, we'll talk about it at the end of the episode, but yes, he is. We get to talk a little bit about this too, because like we haven't gotten quite there yet, but yes, they did. They go and they tell Richie that, or they go and they tell Lily that Richie died. Lily is very light. We don't get a lot of that in this episode, but she just looks pale. She looks like she's just not doing good. You know, they're saying Hank Grogan's dead, and he's not. But Halloran says he knows where one of the pillars are because he sees the spirit of one of the natives, and it takes him to the spot, and they start digging it up, and it's wrapped in a turtle shell, which we saw earlier, which is awesome. And they get the pillar, and now they're going to sneak Hank out of town. She's like, I have an idea to get you out of town so we can make sure that you're safe. I know. Oh, God, it sucked. God, that sucked. Same. I know that it's a very good movie, and I can't wait to watch it with you. That's going to be a fun night, Cam. We're very excited. We're traveling to you so we can watch it with you. I'm already taking that day off work. They take Hank to Rose and ask her for help. You know, you always said if I needed a friend, you were there. So they get him in. What they're going to do is put him in a military garb, and they're going to get him out with that. Sorry, I hate yawning, guys. It's really rude. They tried to incinerate the shard because they lied. You know, they said they were going to try to close him in. Now they're trying to open it up. And Leroy pulls a gun, and he's like, we're not doing this. This is not happening. Not on my watch. And they call him up to the room. He goes up there, and they don't want to cage Pennywise. They want to free him. So they melt the pillar. The pillar's, it's like completely melted. And this moment, you're like, fuck. And the main guy's talking to Leroy. He's like, you're a hero, son. And when he leaves, they put a hit out on Leroy. He's like, that man does not leave this base. And you're just like, oh, shit. That's not good. That is not good at all. what I did think was funny is then we cut, because Pennywise said when he killed Ingrid, or put her in the deadlights, I apologize, he said, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed now. You know, he wants to go to sleep again. His time for his hibernation. And he sleeps as Pennywise, like he's hibernating as Pennywise. And when they melt the shard, his eyes open. They wake him up essentially by melting the shard. And then at the end of the episode, Ronnie calls Will, and is talking to Will and is like, thinking about how, Richie died and how he suffocated and his lungs were popping like popcorn. It makes me hungry. And at this point you're like, what? And then obviously it's Pennywise. And I love the part where their voices are kind of meshing together, so you can still hear her voice, but you also hear Pennywise. And then he shows up on the fridge behind Will, and he jumps down, and Will is taken by the deadlights to end the episode. So a lot happened this week. And what we have to wrap up next week, what happens with Hank Grogan? What happens with the natives? Because they saw the military taking the shard. And he ran and was like, hey, we got a problem. He went back to the ancestors and was like, we have a problem. So we got to wrap that up. Leroy's got a hit on him from the military. How do we wrap that up? Will's been taken by the deadlights. This all has to get wrapped up in the next episode. There is no continuing this. It's already been said that next season goes back in time. So this is a one-off. So we got to figure out how we're going to wrap all this up in the next episode. I was just going to ask that. What are some of the people's theories? What do you guys think is going to happen next week? I think we're going to get a couple more big deaths, obviously. The only two I think are genuinely super safe no matter what are obviously Will, because he's Mike's dad. So he obviously cannot die here, because then Mike wouldn't exist. We'd be in a paradox, all that shit. And I really think that Marge is safe as well. I think that she's Richie's dad from It 2017, It 2019, It 1990, whichever one you want to say. I think that she names her kid after Richie. And I think this season is going to end showing the future of our characters that do live. Stewie says, I think Pennywise gets killed with the shard. If they do it like the book, Pennywise has to die. Well, has to die, obviously. We know he doesn't die now because he'll be back in 2017, 2019. But no, I genuinely think Marge is safe. I think that her and Will are totally safe, in my opinion. Totally safe. Anyone else could bite it next episode. I wonder how they're going to play out the Leroy scenario. Like I said, the whole firebombing, it was about a half hour worth of the episode. Like, that was a huge chunk of this episode was, the black spot being lit on fire. That scared the shit out of me. Binks, wow, you scared the hell out of me, dude. I didn't even know my cat was in the studio, and all of a sudden I just saw him poke up. Whew. I would hope that eventually we get that. That would be cool. But it would kind of be weird, too, with the CGI that they use. I don't know if I'd be that much of a fan of it. Yeah. And Leroy raises Mike. So Leroy's got to be safe, too. Because he does talk about that, how he was raised by his grandfather. That's a very good call, Ricky. I like Lily and Ronnie, but I don't know if it would affect me greatly if they died. More of Lily, though. Yeah, like I said, this week was very light on the Lily stuff, and I think a lot of that was production got shut down, and then it got brought back up 6 months later, so a lot of the kids looked older, visually just looked a lot older, so they did a lot of, going around that, but, I don't know, man. It's just, I'm really, really excited about the end of it, but I'm also nervous because there's a lot to wrap up. Now, hopefully next week's like a 2-hour episode maybe, or an hour and a half. I don't know if we actually have a runtime for that episode yet. Welcome to Derry. So the episode's called Winter Fire. Wow. Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too. While an exact runtime isn't set, episodes are between 54 and 66 minutes, so expect between 60 and 70 minutes. Likely one of the longer installments as it concludes the season's horror. Ah, man. So we got to have something with Winter Fire. That's a great name for a final episode. Man, I want to know how long that episode's going to be. Yeah, no shit, Reginald. No shit. Have they shown the origin where he was? No, but again, the next 2 seasons go back in time. So, we could absolutely end up seeing that. We did that. I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can put it in Stephen King trivia. Stephen King movies. We did. Here, I will put it in the chat so that way you guys can check it out if you would like to. My number 1 may be a surprise to some of you, may not be a surprise to some of you. But we'll put this in here right now. Bam. There is our top 10 Stephen King adaptions. Right there. The witches have put a spell on Binks. How can we save him? Yeah, I definitely would, because that's my kitty. 676767. Next week. This week is just going to be another horror hangout. Ashley has to work a lot this week, and then we have Silent Night, Deadly Night coming out, which tomorrow is our episode with Ruby Modine, which I'm very proud of this episode. She was also in Happy Death Day. She was in Shameless. She's been in a lot. And then Wednesday, we have an episode with one of the people that did the score. So this whole week is Silent Night, Deadly Night based. It's really cool. Really cool. I hope you like it, Sean. I hope you do like that episode. Hey, we put out like 7 episodes a week, man. Like we average an episode a day. We would never be upset if someone missed an episode. It happens, man. Like especially when you put out the amount of content that we do, you're gonna miss an episode or 2. It's bound to happen. Don't apologize. Like you are here, you're with us. We appreciate you. This stuff happens. So yeah. Another thing I was going to talk about real quick in some of the predictions. I'm really, really, really nervous about the amount of characters we could lose next week. I now that you said that, I really do think that Leroy is going to be okay. Ricky bringing that up, how he talks about how he was raised by his grandfather, that makes sense. And that's why he would try to shield Mike from everything. Maybe Will goes crazy, and there's a lot that could happen here. One thing that did piss me off in this episode is when they're giving the memoriam on the radio. You're just like, like they talk about how Mr. Kirsch, the local meat market guy, local butcher, died a hero trying to save the people. It's like, you motherfuckers, man. Like, you sons of bitches. Are there any interviews that you haven't loaded on the YouTube channel yet? I know you were at a con and interviewed famous actors from Friday the 13th. Yes. A lot of our interviews are done like that. They're all done in the convention videos because we only have a minute or 2 to spend with them. So we don't have a lot of time to actually, do a full-on interview with them. So if you go to like our Astronomicon or Horror Hound videos, that's where you'll be able to see a lot of those. We don't release them as individual episodes. Some of the stuff we have recorded that we have not released yet. Ruby Modine, like I said, and then Martin McPhail, who also did the score. Next week we have an interview with Steve Varley of The Steve Varley Show. He's such a great guy. So we got to sit down and hang out with him. We have Ashley's top 10 slasher movies will be coming out here soon. The top 10 movies that pissed me off will be coming out soon. Tony Wash, an episode with him. Our top 10 Christmas horror films. And my least favorite horror films of 2025. And a lot of these top 10s, the top 10 slasher films, the top 10 movies that pissed me off, the top 10 Christmas horror films, and the top 10 least favorites of 2025, you can already watch if you're a member. So make sure you become a member of the channel. You get all those early access to every single one of those episodes. What's up, Terrell? Same. What'd you think of it, brother? Yeah. fucking gross, man. So fucking gross. If you guys don't mind spoilers, I did a video just a little bit right before Welcome to Derry started, actually. And it's about that scene in Silent Night, Deadly Night. Obviously, they haven't released the movie yet, but the scene is online. You can see it. And so if you guys want to, feel free to check that out if you'd like. I'd like to know what you guys think of that. Yeah. It's all my opinion. That's all it is. Yeah, you see, here's my thing. And I said it during our review. I don't know enough about the Five Nights at Freddy's lore to be like, this is this or this is that. I thought the movie was fine. I mean, I know it's like getting slammed by critics, but it was fine. I didn't see anything like terribly wrong with it. So, yes, I would totally survive. Random fact, but not enough full anxiety of my nails because I watched. Oh, yeah. P2's a great one, man. Great flick. So, thank you guys for stopping out. Like I said, next week we'll be doing our last one, our last after party for Welcome to Derry. So, thank you guys for being a part of this for the last 7 weeks. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah. We already knew there was going to be a part 3, but to end a movie on a cliffhanger when we don't even have a release date for the third one, that kind of sucks. Can't wait to see you guys next week. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this final episode. And make sure you check out the interview tomorrow with Ruby Modine. She is, like I said, she's so amazing. You've seen her in Happy Death Day. You've seen her in Shameless. She's done a lot of amazing things, and I'm so honored that I got the chance to spend a little time with her and talk about her first horror movie. And she's just, like I said, she's just an incredible, incredible person, and she's so kind and so sweet. And she's an amazing musician, too. So I can't wait for you guys to check that out. But if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.